Hello, hello. I am so happy to be spending this time together. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to tune into what is going on energetically on this planet right now. I'm sure that you are feeling it. I'm sure you have been feeling it. There are a few different things going on that we're going to talk about here in this video. The first thing is that we are experiencing war on this planet right now, which is a mass awakening event in so many different ways. And I'll be talking to you a little bit more about how that is. We've also just experienced a double eclipse month. Eclipses are really important astrological events that can really shape our spiritual journey. So, thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Marissaremy, and I am a licensed professional hypnotherapist who is really, really passionate about energetics and all things in our quantum universe. So you can subscribe to my channel if you are not already and you're interested in things like astrology, self growth, spiritual topics, and how to make the most out of this life that we have been given. So let's first dive into a lot of the triggers and the pain that we're currently experiencing. If you are an empath, maybe you've already even healed a lot of this stuff and you aren't personally feeling triggered by the news and all of this that we're being exposed to, but maybe you're feeling the heightened emotions of other people on this planet, even if you are not watching the news yourself. So I want you to know that this is a really, really heightened energetic time on this planet. And if you are feeling confused, if you're feeling triggered, if you feel like you need to speak up, you need to do something, that is completely okay. I was just scrolling through TikTok just the other day, and I myself started to get triggered, even though I have been a content creator for over 10 years and I typically don't get triggered by content. And the content that was triggering me were posts that were saying you need to speak up about what is happening in the Middle East, or maybe don't speak up about what is happening in the Middle East. There's all these different opinions and views and pressure and really extreme emotions. So I want you to know that if you are also a creator, you do not have to speak about these topics. You don't have to say anything just to be the type of person that says something. I've seen so many creators get canceled because they're not saying something or they're saying the wrong thing. And that's tends to happen in these mass awakening events. This is an opportunity for a lot of division, and it's also an opportunity for a lot of unity. So if you are living life kind of going with the flow, doing what society tells you to do, doing what the news tells you to do, then you're going to find yourself feeling feeling a lot of separation, feeling a lot of division, a lot of conflict with other people, right? Even in 2020, when it came to vaccines, when it came to political changes that were going on nationally as well as internationally, what the result of that in many cases in many cases was a lot of people finding themselves in interpersonal conflicts, feeling very, very lonely, feeling like you cannot be yourself, you can't share your real views. Maybe your views are the wrong views. Maybe you no longer trust your lifelong friends or family members or things like that. So, what is going on here is that we are being triggered into division, and that's completely okay. That is very natural. But if you choose to be on your highest timeline, living in your peace, in your inner peace, living in harmony with yourself, with nature and the universe, then what you are going to choose is to not feed into that divisive programming and instead use these times to actually create unity instead of division. So during times of conflict internationally, I go out of my way to text people that I know have different political views than me, that I know have different beliefs than me, and let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you. I care about your views. I care about your beliefs, and I'd love to hear them. I'd love to give you space and to really enjoy exchanging energy with people. You don't only need to surround yourself with people who think the same way that you do, who have the same background that you have, and who are at your same avenue of consciousness. And you become a lot more emotionally intelligent and a lot more self aware by giving yourself the freedom to explore different avenues of consciousness. I've done this so many times throughout my life. That was a huge part of my spiritual awakening. In 2020, I went through a political spiritual awakening where I was exploring all of these different avenues of consciousness. And if you are doing this, let's say you are becoming aware of the conflict that's been happening in the Middle East since the beginning of time right now, like so many people are right now. I'm noticing so many people on TikTok that are just 15 years old and didn't even know about anything that was happening in the Middle East because they weren't taught about it in their 15 years of living in the US. So we all have different backgrounds, we all have different educations, we all have different avenues of consciousness, and there is no right or wrong avenue of consciousness. So when things are happening around the world that are causing a lot of pain and stress and overwhelm, what is happening is that it is awakening us. It is making us aware of the things that are within us. It's making us aware of who we are, of the things that we are aware of or not aware of. It's giving us an opportunity to create unity with the people around us, to deepen our sense of community. And it's really, really important to remember that everything is happening as it was divinely orchestrated, that world peace is possible for us, but it might be possible in a slightly different way than what we might have thought it was earlier in our life. So, world peace is definitely on the horizon for us. And sometimes it takes going through conflict in order to create that peace. So that's what you can start doing right now in your life. When you see a news article, when you get triggered, find a way to create peace within yourself. You don't need to involve a different person to do this. You can go hug a tree. You can go do a meditation exercise that you really resonate with and helps you feel connected with your true self. And by consistently taking your own pain and triggers and alchemizing them into peace, you are actually playing a role in the whole entire world. You are creating this world peace that is being created on a really, really large scale. So I know that things look really grim right now if you were to look at the news, but that is why I like to share the energetic news with you and to remind you that we are on the highest timeline for the trajectory of this planet, and that world peace is a part of that timeline, whether we see it in this lifetime or another. But by what we can do in this moment is not force yourself to speak about things that you don't necessarily want to speak about, not force yourself to send money to places that you don't have the money to send or things like that. I know a lot of places are asking for like relief for donations. If you have money to send to donations, you definitely can do that. But if you don't have to. And what you can do is work on creating peace within yourself. This is not avoiding the problems that are in the world. This is facing the problems that are in the world. You don't need to be on social media, on the news in order to face the problems that are in the world, because all the problems in the world are also problems that you have within yourself. Whether you are feeling conflicted about something that you should be doing, or maybe you're feeling guilty that you didn't know more about the conflicts that's going on, or maybe you're feeling confused about what exactly is going on. If you are, please comment below so that I can explain to you energetically a little bit of what I have been seeing in my lifetime as an intuitive channel and as someone who studies neuroscience, quantum energetics, and emotions, and all of the things that we talk about over here on our channel. So definitely let me know below. Another thing that you could be experiencing right now that is actually in alignment with all of the stuff that we were just talking about is that we are currently in a double eclipse month. This means that if you are tuned in and tapped into the earth, if you have done anything at all for your self growth or to be your best self, that you are naturally being elevated. And the way that you're naturally being elevated in this eclipse season is that you might be pulled into shadow work. You might notice that you're having impulses, intrusive thoughts, intrusive emotions. Maybe you're missing your ex or thinking about a past relationship with a boss or coworker or friend in a different way. Whatever is coming up for you right now is coming up in order to be cleared out, which is so divine and so sacred. So throughout this whole past month, I've personally, as a human being, also had a lot of past stuff come up for me, especially stuff from the past 2 years, because we have experienced a lot of eclipses and astrological events in the past 2 years. So these things might be coming up for you naturally. Another thing that could be coming up for you around this time of year is that we are entering um, the holidays, right? In the US, we have Thanksgiving coming up, we have Christmas coming up, we have a lot of familial events and traditions coming up. And when we run into our old programming, traditions, things like that, you might naturally run into these old emotions and thoughts as well. Maybe you're feeling the way that you felt on Thanksgiving last year, even though you're not even thinking about Thanksgiving last year. So, this is the way that our energy has remnants. Even though you might clear this energy out by just living your life, it can come back in remnants, and maybe you're feeling these old feelings without necessarily having the clarity of why you're feeling them. So I want you to know that during this eclipse season, this could definitely be happening for you. Definitely experiencing ascension symptoms. That could be headaches, could be feeling really tired, really overwhelmed. And your job during this season is to really be resilient and to focus on ways that you can nurture and nourish yourself. What are some self care habits? What are some maintenance habits that maybe you've been missing out on that could really support you in feeling the most connected to yourself, even when you have your thoughts going in all different directions and your emotions going in all different directions? I also have so many ways that you can emotionally self regulate. I teach you all of my practices inside of our membership library. I do not believe in gatekeeping at all. So, if there are ways that you can actually conquer your thoughts, conquer your emotions, overcome things like insomnia or negative sleep habits, I am a complete open book, and I share all of those practices and all of that information within our membership. And then I also offer a mentorship option within the membership where we can work closely together so I can make sure that you are finding all of the practices that you need and learning how to best use them to serve you in the long run. So, this is the time to lean into those practices, to take an inventory of all of your hobbies, all of the things that make you feel joy and happiness and alignment with your inner self, and to really start practicing those habits and those hobbies. So often we think that we need to do something drastic in order to quantum leap into the next version of ourselves or to reach our potential. But you don't have to do anything drastic in order to make drastic changes. You can make drastic changes in your life by just doing something really, really small that can help yourself feel more love. You want to focus on pouring into your soul's cup and allowing yourself to feel really, really full and filled up. And you can achieve this by just watching an affirmation video, maybe watching a video like this, where you are learning a little bit more about the world and the energetics of what's going on right now so that you can feel more inspired and motivated to just do self care activities and do the things that make you feel like you. I want you to know that that is absolutely enough and that you are fully allowed to be in your process, in your journey, whatever that looks like for you and however that feels for you. I want you to know that if you're having a bad day today, if you were having a bad day yesterday, I was having a lot of bad days during this eclipse season, and I didn't necessarily have a better day the next day. And that doesn't mean that you are in a bad life or a bad phase or a bad chapter. It's okay for emotions to take 3 or 4 days to kind of run through your system. And it's okay to feel kind of bad or to feel like you're going through a difficult time for all of those days. It doesn't mean that 4 days later you aren't gonna feel amazing, and one of the things that I really do to motivate myself, keep myself inspired and energized on those difficult days, is to remind myself that difficulty is not bad. Just because something is difficult, like, just because you might be thinking about, a past relationship, or maybe you're noticing things that you are not doing well. Maybe you are like, "Whoa, I cannot believe that part of my life is not organized. I need to take responsibility of this. I need to change this like right here, right now. All of that can be really uncomfortable and really difficult to notice. And difficulty does not mean bad. Just because you're noticing a lot of difficult things, just because you're having a difficult 3 or 4 days, doesn't mean that you are off track or that you are in a bad place in your spiritual journey. So I just wanted to remind you of that difficulty actually leads us to our highest alignment. It leads us to places where we can more deeply trust ourselves than ever before and to lean into the difficulty because it is so, so worth it in the end. So I really deeply hope that this supported you in all of the energetic shifts that we're experiencing right now. There's so much more that I could say. I could literally talk about this all day. So if you have more questions about um, absolutely anything that we talked about here, past lives, quantum timelines, soul journeys, or anything like that, I am an open book and I am here to share absolutely all of this knowledge with you. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in our next video.